do impression. It's sort of, so he's got a bit of food in his hands and he goes, "Let me just take a little taste to make sure it's good." Rah, 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 rah. Drama schools, and they teach you to act, but they don't necessarily teach you a lot of really different and new theatre techniques which you might not learn about otherwise. Like just in theatre studies at A-level, we've learned about Artaud, who is a completely mad kind of theatre practitioner in terms of the approach that he takes, but it's a fascinating one to look at. And Artaudian and Brechtian theatre is just really interesting kind of outlooks. But so I'm, in terms of getting where I want to be, I want to go to university and I want to learn about theatre so that I can have various other transferable skills that I can use in other jobs so I can make ends meet, but also so that I can have that independence and that life experience, so that I could then either do maybe a little bit of a postgrad at a drama school or just try and get out there and start doing what I'm doing. Summer course with them, and then I got chicken pox the week that I was meant to do it, and so my mum was suddenly frantically calling them up saying, he can't do it, and then so I started the following September, full time, and then immediately got there, and Lloyd, who was the youth director at the time, went, "So you're the famous Henry that couldn't do it before." And so that was quite funny to turn up on your first day and someone knows, they know who you are instantly. But and then I've been doing stuff with Group 64 ever since. I think the point where I started properly getting involved with productions with them was I was about 11, I think, and I started doing proper shows with them, because the first big show that I did with them was A Christmas Carol, and I'd only just started at secondary school and I was playing Jacob Marley, and that was a really good fun show to do. They set up a thing last year which is the Group 64 Youth Committee, and so within that then they got sort of people who had been at the youth theatre a long time or just really knew their way around it a lot, and so people who'd been there, mostly people who'd been there for a few years, and got them involved, and so got them involved with hopefully kind of making decisions about sort of where we're going next. I played a character about this time last year where I was playing Bennett in Punk Rock by Simon Stevens, and Bennett is a really nasty piece of work, and I'd played sort of villainous characters before, but I'd not played someone who was just sort of straight up nasty bully, and I wasn't sure whether or not I'd be able to do that, but being sort of cast against type, I suppose, and has made me able to do roles that I wouldn't necessarily pick for myself, and increase my confidence in sort of what versatility I have to be able to play a different type of role. It's amazing performing at somewhere like the Cottesloe. The stage is huge, actually, in comparison to Putney Arts. I mean, we've done the Lyric Hammersmith beforehand, and it's probably around the same sort of size as that, but the sheer size of the theatre itself at the Cottesloe is completely phenomenal. And I just remember I was backstage sort of before the show and just thinking, wow, this is amazing. And I went and whispered to Katie, because I've known Katie for years, and one of the first shows that I did with Katie was a show called Planet Phoenix, and I went and whispered to her and I said, 7 years ago we were pretending to be scientists and astronauts. Look at us now. Theatre to film adaptation. I really like Little Shop of Horrors. I think that's I know that's certainly, well, yes, it started off as a film, but then the film got made into a musical, which was on stage, and then that got made again into a musical film, and that's a really fun one to do. I've been involved in Little Shop of Horrors before and played Mr. Mushnick, which is a really fun part. But I love watching Little Shop of Horrors because it's so completely mad and so different from any other kind of musical that I'd seen before. Dream role would be the Doctor in Doctor Who. I love Doctor Who. I would love to play the Doctor one day, and it just really is sort of my absolute favourite show, and my absolute dream role would be to play the Doctor, I think.